Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we are diving deep into a sneaky little piece of punctuation that trips up just about everybody, the hyphen. Specifically, we're going to talk about mastering compound adjectives. Now, I know that sounds a little technical, but trust me, stick with me and you'll be a hyphen pro by the end of this.
You see this stuff everywhere, right? A 5-star review, a long-term plan, a state-of-the-art phone. That tiny little dash, the hyphen, is actually doing some really heavy lifting. So let's figure out what its job is and why it's so important for clear writing.
So first things first, let's meet the star of our show, the compound adjective. You gotta understand these guys to understand the hyphen. Think of them as the shapeshifters of the English language.
So what is a compound adjective? It's really simple. It's just a team of words, could be two, could be more, that join forces to describe one single thing. They work together as a single unit to paint a much clearer picture. Okay, check out this example. It was a fast-paced game. Fast isn't describing the game by itself, and paced definitely isn't. It's the combination, fast-paced, that describes the game. And that hyphen? Well, that's the superglue holding the two words together so we read them as one idea.
All right, so that's the what. Now for the big question. When do you actually use the hyphen? Let's get to the golden rule. Honestly, this one simple rule will cover you in most situations you'll run into.
The key is simple. It's all about location, location, location. If those descriptive words come right before the noun they're describing, you almost always connect them with a hyphen. It's like a little signal to the reader that says, hey, these words belong together. Read them as a single thought.
And here it is in action. She adopted a well-behaved dog. The words well and behaved come together right before the noun dog. We need that hyphen to make it crystal clear that we're talking about a dog that is well-behaved, not a well dog that just happened to behave. See the difference?
Of course, you knew this was coming, right? This is English grammar after all. For every rule, there are a few exceptions, so let's talk about when you can and should ditch the hyphen.
The biggest exception, and the one you'll see the most, involves adverbs, especially those words that end in ly. See, these words already have a very clear job. They modify the word that comes right after them. There's no chance for confusion, so they just don't need a hyphen. It's like they have a free pass. For instance, in a beautifully written story, your brain automatically understands that beautifully is describing how the story was written. That ly ending does all the work for us, so no hyphen is necessary. Beautifully written works perfectly fine as two separate words.
Oh, this slide is perfect. It shows our main rule in reverse. On the left, last minute comes before decision. So, yep, it needs that hyphen. But look what happens on the right. When the phrase moves after the noun, the hyphen just vanishes. Why? Because the meaning is already perfectly clear without it.
Okay, here's another time to leave the hyphen out. Sometimes, a word or a phrase is just so common that we all understand it's a single idea. It doesn't need any help from punctuation to connect the dots for us.
I mean, take a modern example like this one. He had a whatever attitude. We all know exactly what that means. The word whatever is doing all the descriptive work all by itself. Adding a hyphen would just look, well, weird. It stands on its own.
Okay, moving on to a couple of special cases. Let's see how numbers and something called superlatives have their own very firm rules when it comes to hyphens. You're going to see this one constantly. A 5-year plan, a 20-second timer, a 2-person job. When a number links up with another word to describe a noun that follows it, you connect them with a hyphen.
And here's the classic example. We're not talking about 300 different novels. We're not talking about a 3-page novel, whatever that is. We're talking about one single novel that has the quality of being 300 pages long. The hyphen is what makes that idea perfectly clear.
Now this is a fun one. Superlatives are words that express the highest or lowest degree of something. You know, best, worst, highest, lowest. When they team up with another word to describe a noun, they always, and I mean always, get a hyphen. It's a hard and fast rule.
Look at this sentence. Best is modifying tasting to create the single powerful idea of best tasting. That hyphen is absolutely mandatory to show that super strong connection.
All right, time for the final challenge, the boss level. What happens when it's not just 2 words? What if an entire phrase wants to get in on the action and become an adjective? This is where your writing can get really creative and punchy. That's right, you can basically scoop up a whole string of words and turn them into one giant superadjective. The hyphens act like stitches, sewing the whole phrase together so that it clearly points to the noun that comes right after it.
Look at how clean and effective this is. The entire phrase, one of a kind, gets neatly packaged with hyphens. It's a really clear, concise, and, honestly, a pretty stylish way to describe that performance.
So, let's just put this all together in a nice, simple package. Next time you're writing and you're just not sure, just run through this quick 3-step check. Ask yourself these 3 questions, and pretty much every single time, you'll land on the right answer. So you see, the hyphen isn't just some dusty old grammar rule. It's a powerful tool for clarity. Once you master it, your writing will instantly become sharper and more professional. So the only question left is, what kind of one-of-a-kind, attention-grabbing sentences are you going to write? Thanks so much for joining me.